Alright, this is the Echo Alpha here. I'm going to do a quick review about my one of my favorite radios, the Motorola MTS2000. It's one of my favorite series that the Jedi as it can be programmed with CPS, which works with Windows XP, and I don't have to use DOS. But anyways, let's get it down to the radio. Alright, so this is a Model 1 MTS2000. It's a UHF 403 to 470 R-split band split. It's got 43 channels that can be divided, or excuse me, 48 channels that can be divided into these three zones using the ABC switch. Alright, so I'm going to give you guys a little overview. Okay, so if you turn the radio on, you have the normal self-test, and it'll go to your channel, but it has a 6-character display. Let's see if I get this focus. You have your man-down button, the orange button. You have your 3-zone, well, you can set it as a zone or scan manual. As I can see, I'm switching through zones. Let's get that in here. Let's go ahead and turn on the display. Alright, so I can switch through zones with it. See, channel 1, 2, 3, blah, 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 blah. You also go through these, same thing. Anyways, you have the 3-position toggle switch. You have the, as you can see below the channel rotation knob, you have a 2-position concentric switch. This switch is usually used, as I said with my Astro Saber video, is used for encryption modules, as this is unencrypted and this isn't. But I have the switch set as scan. As you can see, when I flip it up, the scan icon appears. I just use it as a quicker shortcut for scan. Alright, as you look on the side of the radio, you have your greenish bluish button on the top, which is usually set for the display on off, and it also can, a neat feature about this is you can flip the displays if you hold the button. See if it flips. Come on. Nope, wrong button. See if I get it flip. There it goes. So the display is flipped, so now if you have this on your belt, you can read what the display says, and then I usually flip it back. Let's get it flipped back again, and there it goes. Now it's flipped back. You can set the backlight for I think it's like a 1.5 or 2-minute duration. It won't let you do unlimited, which sucks, but it will let you do it for a while where it's not going to murder your battery if you use it too much. Anyways, back to the side of the radio, you have your top button under the green button, which I think I have set for the nuisance delete during a scan, and then the bottom button I have set for squelch, and then you have your large push to talk. And then on the other side of the radio, you have your connection assembly, and I have a dust cover on this one. You can see I just pull this up over the antenna, and there you go. There it is. And it has the grounds for if you want to use a remote speaker mic with an antenna on it. You don't have to use any adapters. As these radios were produced in the mid-90s, they are a little heavy, and they can fall off your belt surprisingly. But most of the weight, actually, surprisingly, is in the battery. Radios are actually fairly thin, as you can see, and then you have the 2 plugs for the back, and then your flash code and everything else. But the batteries, like this one, are actually really heavy. They add for about 3/4 of the weight of them. As most people ask, batteries for these radios can be expensive if you want to buy expensive aftermarket ones, but a lot of people, like this battery, will sell new old stock of these batteries, which have about 80% left in them, and they work really well, and they're around 20 USD on eBay. This is the battery that came with this radio when I purchased it, but it still holds a really good charge, and it's an OEM Motorola one. Alright, so right now I'm going to do a quick audio demonstration of this radio and demonstrate the audio quality of these. Alright, let's go over Tech 2 and let me get on this Astro Saber. Alright, here's a test of the receive audio. Nope, wrong channel. Let's get that switch over.
Testing. 1, 2, 3, testing.
You can see the audio on these is very, very crisp and very clear. Some of these radios do have the best receivers in them, surprisingly, as old as they are.
Testing. 1, 2, 3. Test.
Now we're going to do a quick transmit test. Now I have to warn you, this radio does have the grounding issue, as I believe 75% of the Jedis produced have this issue. This includes HT1000s, MTX838s. Multiple of these radios have this grounding issue on the boards of them. It's actually fairly easy to fix, but I haven't gotten around to fix it on this portable. So hopefully the audio will be clear for this test, but I will note the grounding issue as you hear it. Nope, that's too loud. Again, let's go down a little bit. Testing. 1, 2, 3, testing. The grounding issue you'll notice, it's a very annoying static. It sounds like it's running out of range, but it's just a static at the back of the mic. And it causes an annoying audio garble, and it's just a mess.
Testing. 1, 2, 3. Testing. Testing. 1, 2, 3. As you can hear that crackling, that's the grounding issue on this radio. Again, you can hear it again. It sounds pretty awful.
Anyways, the grounding issue does affect a ton of MTS2000s, HD1000s. Any of the Jedi series will have it. I believe it was fixed after 1997, but anything produced before it will have the grounding issue. Alright, so these radios can be purchased on eBay for fairly cheap. You can get them in sets, or you can get them with accessories. You shouldn't pay more than $100 for a radio and a battery. If you're paying any more for $100, then you're not getting a good deal. But you do need to be aware, as a lot of these UHF ones will only have a basic trunked flash code. What I mean by a basic trunked flash code is the flash code on this radio is, let's see if you can read it. Let's see if I get it to focus. There it is all zeros, a 4, and then a 6. Which means all this radio has is a basic trunked flash code, which means the only thing it can do is conventional, regular standard UHF. It can do 0 signaling. So if you want MTS2000 signaling, you have to buy a radio that I believe, I'm not really sure, I think it might be a 5 or a 2. Maybe even a 1 at the beginning of the flash code, and it just has to have conventional systems operation in the flash code. If it only has a trunked flash code, you will only get just a standard radio with no signaling. Now these can be used, or they can be upgraded to have a new flash code using the S-record modification, any of that, but you need to be careful, as these radios will be tool-proofed if they have later than, I think it's 5.42 or 5.43 firmware, as they will be tool-proofed and rendered useless. Let's see. Oh dear. I think this radio is 5.0. It's hard to read, but I think it has 5.61 or something. Anyways, you need to have old firmware to use lab RSS, but if you use lab RSS now with the newer firmware, it will tool-proof. So when buying these, look at your flash codes to see. Also, if it has firmware 6. If it has some of the latest firmware in these radios, I think it's over 6.7. If somebody transmits with an MDC ID, it will display it. It will have MDC ID display, so it can display an ID. I can't do it on this radio because this is only a trunked radio, and it does 0 signaling. I would highly recommend this radio to anybody who needs an analog but rugged UHF or VHF or even 800 megahertz portable, as these radios are solid rocks. They are everywhere. You can find knobs, you can find a lot of the parts. The only where they get expensive is if you need an actual new housing. But these radios can be found everywhere. They're surplus. There's hundreds of them in the UK. There's hundreds in the US. I would highly recommend this radio for anybody who needs an analog radio. Also, it's programmed with CPS, and the batteries are easy to find. Also, on another note, if you have an 800 megahertz version of one of these, and you want to monitor a standard Motorola Type 2 SmartNet analog only system, these are the radios to go, as you don't have to do any hidden talk group features or anything. You just generate a system key and program the system into this radio. You disable affiliation, and then you do affiliate as on PTT and set the affiliation to the concentric switch, and then you set both of the concentric switch settings to disable, so the radio cannot affiliate at all. And even if you want another precaution, you can even change the affiliate frequency to none on the system, and I will guarantee it that these radios will not affiliate. And these are beautiful analog Type 2 trunked portables. They work so much better than a scanner, and it's very professional. Now, the only limitation is you're only able to scan 15 top groups at a time, but there's a way to get around that with a CPS method. This is the Echo Alpha here for a Motorola MTS2000 flash port review. These radios are easy to find, and I would highly recommend them. You can find them on eBay and everywhere, and even dealers will have them. They're easy to use, and they are very rugged. I would highly, highly recommend to anybody who needs a UHF radio to purchase one of these. But there are some precautions, as I said, when purchasing these. You need to watch the flash code if you need signaling. If signaling isn't an issue, then go for it and get a trunked only flash code. But if you want signaling, you need to get a trunked flash code. Also, a non-trunked flash code. It needs to say conventional systems operation only. Now, if it has trunking with it, that'll be a bonus, but you need that conventional systems only part of the flash code. Also, you need to watch the grounding issue with these radios. A lot of them will have the poor grounding issue, and it will need to be fixed. It can be done easily if you know how to solder, and it's not hard to do. I just have not gotten around to do it on this portable, but a lot of them have been fixed, but you will get some ones that have it like this one. This is once again the Echo Alpha here for my review on the Motorola MTS2000 Model 1 UHF portable radio. If you have any questions, put them in the comment box below.